again, one of those wonderful things in this industry, right? There's a million ways to make $1 million, is that it was never on our radar. It was never on my radar that, hey, this is the way we wanted to go. But working through this community, a lot of the new investors that came in, they all had the same question, which was, raise their hand and go, where do I find the money to do my first deal? After hearing that for about 100 times, finally sinks into the cranium that, hey, I need to be the answer to that question.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Micah Johnson, and today I am joined by Shane Roach, who's been making serious moves in the single-family residential space for quite some time now. Shane, glad to have you, man. Welcome in.
Micah, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited for our talk today. I think our listeners are really going to get something from the way that you've started opening people's minds to other ways to invest in real estate, that you don't just have to be the property owner. And also, man, you've been doing this for a while. So I love hearing the experience and getting those stories shared out there. So let's dive in.
I think you just called me old, but I'm not sure.
No. It's experience. It's seasoned, right?
Right.
And I always say this: everybody gets to be young. Not everybody gets to be old. So it's if you make it, you're doing all right.
Amen.
So for people who may not know you yet, what's your main focus right now, and what markets are you working in?
As you said, we've been in this for quite a few years. I did my first fix and flip back in 1992. So been at it for a while. Right now, what we're doing primarily is fix and flips rehabs down in St. Petersburg, Florida, Treasure Island, St. Pete Beach, that area. So it's not our only market, but it's our primary focus at the moment.
Okay. And how long have you been down there working?
Almost 1 year now. Yeah. A lot of these houses that we're picking up from insurance, from owners who have taken their insurance money and want to get out, is because the hurricane damaged properties that are there.
Now, just a quick side note for someone that's thinking about that. I'm in Florida, hurricane damage. Those are popular houses after. What should someone who's thinking about possibly messing with one of those pay attention to?
Well, there's a lot of permitting around that. So you gotta really have to know what you're doing, because you can't just go in and just kind of wing it. A lot of those houses, they've been through an insurance audit. The cities are very aware of the damage that's in them. There's a lot of specialty things for like saltwater damage. So a lot of electrical's got to be redone. The houses that we're picking up have been stripped of drywall, usually from the floor up about 4 feet. And, so that kind of helps because it's all exposed, but you just got to be aware that, hey, there's water in the house. So always bring special challenges.
For sure, man. That's, I remember when the hurricanes came through, I'm in St. Augustine, and we got hit kind of like Tampa did, or the St. Pete area did, twice in 2 years. And that's rare. Like normally you don't get hit twice hard at one time. And it's, all the houses on our island over here, that 4-foot rip up was everywhere. You saw drywall piled up. So yeah, that's It's funny that that's that way.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Okay, so let's take a step back now. You've been doing this for a while. How did you get into flipping first? And then take us through your journey from then to now.
Yeah, Micah. So I did my first fix and flip back in 1992, not because I wanted to be a real estate investor. It was really out of necessity. I just moved to Detroit area from college, and I didn't want a roommate, and I didn't want to live in an apartment. I was tired of living in the dorms, and I bought what I could afford. So while working full time, I moved into the back room of this house, and I totally gutted it, remodeled it over 2 years while working a full-time job. And then I sold that house and went, dang, that wasn't a bad little hobby, So ever since then, that bug was born. It's been with me ever since. And I stumbled through real estate, long before YouTube University was a thing. Just trying to figure this thing out. I didn't know about underwriting. I just kind of looked at a house and went, I can make this work. Right. And back then, you're just young and we just did all the work. I had friends come help me. We'd tear off roofs. We'd re-drywall a house. We'd do the siding. My dad and my uncles were all builders. So it was in my blood and, it was just the way we did it. And then I did something foolish, Micah. I met a girl, fell in love, got married, started having babies, raising a family. And all of a sudden, remodeling the house you're living in gets really, really tough.
Yeah, that's not ideal for house.
Yeah. So rather than stop, what do? You go buy another house, right?
Yeah, obviously.
And somewhere along the way, somebody said, hey, you ever think about turning one of these into a rental? You want to have that long-term wealth. I was like, okay, I'll try it.
No, but okay.
Yeah. Over the course of about 8 years, we got picked up 22 doors. And at the time, I was doing everything. I was doing the remodel work, finding the next deal, underwriting it, replacing the kitchen cabinets, knocking on the doors, collecting the rent, and really just kind of got burned out through that whole process. Kids were getting, a little older. So I was like, man, and life just kind of happened. My career picked me up and said, hey, we got an opportunity for you down in Dallas, Texas. And I'm like, good. Change the lifestyle. We actually sold everything in Michigan. And every once in a while, I do what I shouldn't do is I go back and I look at the pricing, the values of those properties and why did I do that? Don't do that. It's water under the bridge. It's so long behind you.
Yeah. Made your money. Move on.
Right. So while we were in Texas, I didn't look at a piece of real estate for a long time till my youngest graduated high school, and at that time I retired from my corporate job and was running a company that we started, but I still had a lot of time on my hands. I was like, what am I going to do? Well, I got to get back into real estate, but I knew I wanted to do it differently and I didn't want to hang drywall anymore. I don't want to get on the roof and shingle anymore. So I we just kind of built out a team. I have a business partner out of Phoenix. Her name is Cindy. And, we just started meeting like this every day. We just turned the camera on the Zoom and we're talking about properties we were underwriting, which ones were good, which ones were bad. We just started sharing it with some friends who were in real estate as well. And what started off as a close group of 40 people turned into 4,000 because we put them in a Facebook group called Creative Real Estate University. And that's just a free group. And we don't really teach a course. We just kind of hop on and share, here's what our business is doing. Here's what we're having success in.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Here's where we're struggling. And then we try to answer questions. A lot of people coming up through real estate want to know, where do I get started, or how do I get started?
Right.
I was that way for a long time. So this is kind of like my way of giving back to the community and helping people out.
Well, let me ask you about that. So how big of a difference did it make building those relationships and growing that network?
It's been a game changer for me. It really has, because besides being focused on what we're doing all the time, you start hearing from other people in the industry of, hey, I got this going on in this market and I'm having a great time. I'm crushing it. Or, man, I just got killed on a deal over here. We rehabbed a house and it hasn't sold in 6 months. You start getting a better understanding of the microclimates within different markets. And it's like, oh yeah, so we really kind of opened our eyes as to what works, what doesn't work, and how fast that changes. A hot market could be cold as ice next year. And you just got to
Exactly.
kind of be paying attention to it.
I think it's fabulous that you built a group where y'all actually shared the real information, because that's something I noticed in my career as I grew and joined different groups, belonged to things, was having access to not just your info, because it's easy to feel like you're on your own little island in real estate, especially because you could,
Especially, yeah.
like, fix and flipping. Even though we know everybody that does it, it seems not very many people do it. It's still a very small business sector compared to other things. So once you're trying to get to those higher levels, access to information becomes imperative, because you just don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. And there's a big difference between the one investor trying to do one house, every a year or every couple of years even, versus
Mhm.
the guy who wants to do 2 or 3 a month. And that's a big journey difference and a different mindset difference along that path.
I couldn't agree more. And that's something, when I've spoken with real estate investors in the past, is working with them in a way to help them understand what are you wanting to build here? What exactly are you trying to do? Because you can do real estate a lot of different ways. If you just want the hobby and do one deal every couple of years, okay, there's a certain set of tools you're going to need for that. But when you want to change that and start doing more than 12 to 15 a year, that's a whole different set of skills that you need to start having, a whole different set. It's a completely different toolbox.
Completely different. Micah, one of the things I love about this industry, real estate, is there's a million ways to make $1,000,000. And one of the things that's always been frustrating and I hate about this is there's a million ways to make $1,000,000, right? So
Right.
people get into this and they see all those different opportunities and they get kind of lost in trying to chase them all at once. And it's like, you don't have to chase them all. Just pick one, find your niche, find your specialty, find that passion that draws you in and get really good at it.
I couldn't agree more. And that's where I tell folks a lot. And if you're listening to this and you've chosen one form of it, if it's not doing it for you, I mean, you don't have to quit it right away, but just know that, like, okay, I don't like this particular version of real estate. What's the one that's gonna do it? Because when you start to line up a version that pays your emotional paycheck and your financial one, you got alignment. You can make it places from that point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So during your journey, we were talking about a little bit pre-recording, you discovered another one of those ways to invest in real estate that was different than how you got started. So let's talk about that a little bit, and what it did to change your perspective.
Yeah. And again, one of those wonderful things in this industry, right? There's a million ways to make $1,000,000, is that it was never on my radar. It was never on my radar that, hey, this is the way we wanted to go. But working through this community, a lot of the new investors that came in, they all had the same question, which was,
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
They raise their hand and go, where do I find the money to do my first deal? After hearing that for about 100 times, finally sinks into the cranium that, hey, I need to be the answer to that question. So we started being a hard money loan broker and providing funds for new investors, which was great for a lot of new starts. But there are some people who are either just getting started or scaling that are tight on funds, and they don't have that 20% down for a house or the rehab costs. So we started providing that gap funding. So we started off being private money lenders ourselves to help close the deal. So we'd bring in hard money and some private money, either as a partnership or as a loan to get the deal done. All of a sudden now I was making money on fix and flips or rehabs that I didn't find. I didn't have to go manage the contractors. I didn't have to worry about when the house sold. I've positioned myself as the bank, and we made money on the deal no matter what.
Now, based on your experience in it, have you found, I don't know how to say this, personality type or a type of person that, hey, this should be something you think about in the industry to capitalize on what you can really do with real estate?
Yeah. So what we've found is that niche that really works well for being a private money lender is someone who wants to get into real estate because they see the long-term gain, right? They want to be out of their W-2 job, or they want to build for their retirement, but they have a full-time family. They have a full-time W-2 job. They don't have the time to go out, find the leads, negotiate the contracts, to find the contractors, to manage the job, all those things. Well, you don't have to do all those things. You just got to show up with the funds. You can be the private money lender or private money partner on a deal. Now you can get, the advantage of the gains, as well as, hey, you don't have all that time commitment. Let somebody else bring that portion to the deal.
Yeah, so you can capitalize on the expertise if you've got the funds to support it. So
Right.
somebody, a high paying W-2, you got money just sitting there and you're thinking, okay, how can I use this better? Now, what are some things that someone that might be interested in doing that, what do they need to think about up front? What are some pitfalls they might hit? What are some ways to make sure to protect themselves?
Great question, because that's the number one thing we tell everybody is they're going into being a private money lender. It's all about setting yourself up for success. So yeah, want to get through all the security questions, right? You want to make sure that you're recorded on a mortgage note or a deed of trust, depending on what state you're in. You want to have a personal guarantee. We always like to have people named as an additional insured on the property. Those are all things that help protect you. And one of the things that, really basic is when you're going through a title company or a closing attorney, again, depending on what state you're in, that's where all your money needs to flow through. You never wire your funds directly to another person. You might as well just be handing them a bag of money. Have it go through the title office so it all gets recorded on the note. Funds get dispersed accordingly, and there's a trail.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I've heard horror stories of that latter one you said where they just wired the money personally without any protection. So someone that walk through that process a little bit for the beginner of how do you go about doing that with the title company? Is there an attorney that you need? What's the way to make sure that you're protected?
It, again, depending on your state, because some states have closing attorneys versus a title company being the closing agent. Either way, reach out to them directly, and they should be able to walk you through the local state laws, but also the local municipality laws, because investing in Dallas, Texas is completely different than Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yeah.
And rather than trying to be an expert in all those, rely on that closing attorney to do that for you.
Is there a particular question you would have them lead out with? So is it like,
Yeah. So sometimes now, as a private money lender, your number one goal, besides reviewing the deal that's presented to you, because you have to double check all the numbers, you also have to review the borrower. You know, what is the likelihood that they're going to pay you back? Not just on time, but they're going to pay you back right at the end of the project. Is I see a lot of people jump in and say, well, I got a personal guarantee. I'm like, do they own anything? Does that person have a job? Do they own other properties? What's backing that personal guarantee? It's like, ooh, I don't know. So, well, you need to know, because that personal guarantee might be worth $0. If the house goes upside down and you're trying to collect on it, the deed of trust on the property, that's your first parachute, right? Is that if the deal goes sideways, you always have to have some equity in that. So when we're talking to new private money lenders, we try to say 70% is kind of like the rule of thumb, is kind of start there. That way there's some equity in the property that if you have to foreclose on it, heaven forbid, but things happen in real estate. If you have to do that, there's some equity there, because if you have to fire sale the project, or the project's half torn out, the valuation might come down. There should be some cushion there that you should still get your funds back, or at least a majority. The second parachute you have, right, the emergency pull, is that personal guarantee. So if there is a difference in that spread, well, you have an opportunity to go back to them and have legal recourse and say, well, you still owe me additional funds.
gotcha. How long did it take you to learn all that?
It took years to learn all that. It took a few hard knocks to learn all that, and a lot of conversations. So
And that leads right back to real estate's relationship business. It's
absolutely.
learning from people who know. Now we talked about it before recording, but there's a guide that you have that talks about this, right?
Yeah, I have a guide. It's called Be the Bank, and it's a free guide we put together, and it's kind of walks you through the whole process. If you don't know anything about being a private money lender, this is an opportunity for you to learn the basic steps. So I'll provide you the link for that. Again, it's a free charge, and also has in there a link if you ever have questions. There's a link to my calendar. You can book a time with me, and I'd gladly help you out.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate you sharing that. And we'll make sure that that's in the show notes for anyone that's interested in downloading that. Because, like we were saying earlier in that group, when you can get information from someone who's done it, they've walked the road. That's not just a made up guide, right? There's a lot of gurus out there today that sell one house and then create a course. When you can get information that's tried and tested and it's true, it works. I really appreciate you sharing that. And I
Yeah,
appreciate your time and your story today, man. It's you've been kicking butt in this industry for quite some time.
well, I appreciate that, Micah. And again, I went through so many years in the school of hard knocks that, people have asked me, so why don't you build a course around this? I'm like, I'm too busy doing what I love, but I love
Yeah,
helping people as well. So I still give away a lot of my time just answering questions and helping people out when I can. But, it's very much like your show. People look at the very short amount of time that you might be on their computer screen, but I know that there's a whole bunch of other work behind that scene. So we appreciate you offering the show and the opportunities that you have. So thank you.
absolutely, man. I love getting to meet folks like yourself and understand your stories more because I think that's what brings it home, especially for beginners. You don't even know what you're getting into when you get into real estate because it's such a big term, and you typically one of us like usually what is it? Rich Dad Poor Dad is one of the most popular ways that people start getting into it, but that just gets you hyped up. That gives you an idea on like what you're trying to do, not how you're going to go about doing that. So getting information that connects, and then connecting with people that have walked that road. And just that's the kind of thing that fills my cup up. I love that. So again, I appreciate your time, your story, your perspective today. I think we need more folks out there doing it like you're doing it, sharing the information. We all grow together. So for those of you tuning in, if you enjoyed today's episode, got value, please make sure you like this episode, subscribe to our podcast. We got more operators coming up in future conversations, just like Shane, who are out there doing it the right way, building real businesses. So Shane, thanks again. Everybody, we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.